Hey everybody, and today we are going to be making a British classic called a Scotch egg, and the aim is to get a really runny yolk on the inside. Okay, so first up we're going to get the seasoning ready. Now this is going to go into the pork mince that is going to encase the actual egg. Now you can use anything you want here. You could just use salt and pepper and keep it simple, but I want to go for kind of a spicy breakfast sausage taste, I guess. So I'm using 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes and 1 teaspoon of sumac. And then I'm going to give it a really good blitz up in the spice grinder so we get a nice fine powder. Now I've been doing this trick for years, and to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure if it even really works, but I'm giving all of the eggs a prick with a drawing pin, and then I'll pop them in the boiling water, and supposedly this will stop them splitting. Now I'm on a quest for a runny yolk, so these eggs weigh just about 60 grams a piece, and I'm going to leave these to cook for 4 minutes 30. They're going to go straight into boiling water. I'm going to pop the lid on and just reduce the heat a little bit so they're not boiling like crazy. Now as soon as that timer goes off, the aim of the game is to get these eggs cooled down as quickly as possible, because we want to try and keep that runny yolk. So I'm tipping off all of the boiling water, and then I'm just going to give them a rattle around in the pan just to crack that outer shell, so that when I run it under the cold water, it's going to seep underneath that thin membrane, which should make these eggs a lot easier to peel. Now because we've got that runny yolk on the inside, you have got to be extremely careful when you peel these. As you'll see here, I had a double yolker and it just kind of fell apart on me. So the aim of the game is to be as careful as possible when you're peeling the egg. When that's done, we're going to get the egg into the fridge just to chill down and firm up. And meanwhile, we can season our pork with the seasoning mix we made earlier. Now, after you've added this, you just want to gently fold this seasoning through the pork. You don't want to be too aggressive and squeeze and squish all of that meat, because that's going to generate really quite a chewy texture on the pork, and we want to keep it as delicate as possible. So just spend a little bit of time and gently work that seasoning mix through the pork with your fingers. Now I want to make sure that I've got this seasoning right, so I've just formed a little burger patty and cooked that off so I can try it before we mould it into the Scotch egg. And if I need to adjust the seasoning, it's really easy to do now. Now there's many ways to encase this egg within the pork, but you've just got to remember that if you're going for a runny yolk, then the egg's going to be extremely soft. So we need to do everything we can to make this job easier. Now I find this is the easiest way to do it. Take a very big ball of pork mince, more than you're going to need to encase the egg. Put it between 2 pieces of parchment paper and then give it a really good push down. Gently put the piece of pork in one hand and the egg on top. Now here you're going to want to pinch off all of the excess and basically make an envelope that's going to totally enclose the egg. And at this stage you don't want to be using any pressure on the egg whatsoever. Just gently coaxing that meat around the egg and pinching off any excess. Now this is where you want the lightest touch possible. Just start pinching together the seam where that pork mince meets, and then you can work it between 2 hands until you've got a nice egg shape. Okay, so we've got the breading station, the pane section set up. I've got some seasoned flour, a seasoned egg in the middle that's been lightly beaten, and then on the end, on the left-hand side, I've got some Panko breadcrumbs. I prefer using those because I think once this egg's been deep fried, it gives it a really nice texture. And again, throughout this process, we just need to be very careful. We've got such a delicate egg on the inside of this, so gently through the flour and then gently rolling it around in the beaten egg, and finally finishing up in those Panko breadcrumbs. And after you've rolled it around in the breadcrumbs, you gently want to push them into the sausage meat and just form that back into an egg shape. Okay, now it's time to cook it. I've got half a pound of vegetable oil there that's been heated to 160 degrees Celsius. Now that's the perfect temperature to be able to cook the pork on the outside, allow the breadcrumbs to go nice and golden, but it's not going to cook the egg yolk any further on the inside. So by the time this is finished cooking, we're still going to have that lovely runny yolk on the inside that's just started to warm through. And after about 8 to 10 minutes, you're going to end up with this lovely golden Scotch egg. And just listen to this. And now let's see if we manage to keep that runny yolk on the inside. Ho ho ho, would you look at that? And now I guess we should give it a try. Well. That really is a perfect Scotch egg. The outside is really crispy, stays crispy even after it's cooked, which is exactly what you want. The sausage meat is still nice and soft, it's not overcooked, but it's really well seasoned. You've got the spice coming through from the chilli. And then you go through to this lovely velvety, soft, runny yolk of the egg. All in all, really, really well cooked. And I'd just like to say thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you again very soon.